Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my son's dental surgery? I'm divorced from my son's mom and she took the easy way out on the financial arrangements. Basically I got stuck paying things that are certain, like our son's private school and extracurricular activities where she's responsible for their health insurance and medical bills and their nanny. She doesn't pay much for coverage and our sons don't need medical care. Until now. Our 8-yo super cute son has a tooth growing from the roof of his mouth and it needs removed quickly. It's not a simple procedure because he needs to be put under anesthesia and we have to go to a pediatric oral surgeon. Most oral surgeons will not do the procedure on a child. We eventually found a very good pediatric oral surgeon and it's going to come out to be $3,000. It's that much because dental insurance doesn't cover much and an anesthesiologist is expensive. It had to be paid half for an appointment and half day of the appointment. My ex asked me if I was going half. I said nope. This bill is your problem, not mine. This is what you wanted, remember? You spent the last few years with so little childcare expenses that you got used to it. She went on to say that she doesn't have that kind of cash laying around and it doesn't make sense to put it on a credit card with interest rates. I told her to go sell blood. I don't care. And yes, I actually budget my money and could pay all of it and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. She ended up having to take a loan from her credit union to pay for the surgery. Our son was always going to get his surgery and there was no delay. Edit. Removing the tooth quickly had more to do with trying to get the procedure done before the holidays than medical necessity. Everyone sucks here, your wife for trying to renege on the agreement and you for sounding more interested in sticking it to her than your son's welfare. I see the statement that his care was never in question and presume that you would have stepped up and paid if it really had been an issue, so partial credit. But for the sake of your children, you two need to start acting like co-parents instead of squabbling toddlers. Not the asshole for holding your wife to her side of the bargain. When you didn't pick up the slack for her, she found a way to do it herself. That's fine. You do kinda sound like a dick, though, to be honest. Like just petty and bitter. And you two should probably have a conversation about big, unexpected expenses. $3,000 isn't too bad from what your financial situation sound like. But if it were $30,000 or some other amount neither of you could be expected to pay a loan without incurring significant hardship. You should have a plan now. Am I the asshole for exposing my coworkers' bathroom habits? I, 25F, work at a smaller company of about 15 people. I get along with pretty much everyone with the exception of someone we'll call Alexis, 40F. Alexis is very socially conservative and I am not. I do my best to not talk about things I know will cause an argument, but they sometimes happen anyway. One time I used the bathroom right after the cleaning crew finished cleaning it and didn't bother putting the toilet seat down because I was just going to squat to pee. I washed my hands and when I exited, I bumped straight into Alexis. I apologized and went on with my day. For the next 2 weeks, I thought Alexis was being particularly sanctimonious, but I didn't say anything as it wasn't too out of character. The subject of women's sports came up during lunch and she made a snide comment along the lines of, "People like Op ruin them for everyone else." I'm immediately confused. I've never been athletically inclined at any age, so ask, do you mean tall people? No, women that are still biologically men, she says with a glare. At the time, this came out of left field. I am a cisgender woman. While I am still a tomboy in my interests, I am very physically feminine presenting. I said, okay, 1. There is nothing wrong with being transgender. 2. I am not transgender. Why would you even say that? You can't fool me. I saw you come out of the bathroom and the toilet seat was up. I stared in disbelief as she seemed convinced this was the biggest gotcha moment. She couldn't even hide her smug smile. I squatted, Alexis. The energy of the room was getting very awkward, so I decided to make a joke. Are you telling me that you park your bare ass on the toilet seat in public restrooms? She turned bright red. Apparently she did, because she started muttering something about not being weird, before bursting into tears and leaving the room. My coworkers think it was rude of me to expose her like that, but I don't think I did anything wrong for trying to defuse a situation she put herself in. Am I the asshole? Edit. I'd like to address a few things. 1. A lot of you mentioned going to our. I wasn't going to because I thought I would get in trouble too, but if I had been trans, this story could have ended very differently. I'm going to arrange a meeting. 2. I hear you all loud and clear about squatting versus sitting. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with OCD in the height of the pandemic and many of my delusions are centered around germs and contamination. I'm gonna work on that, but sitting may not be in my future. At the very least, I'm going to look into pelvic floor exercises so I don't end up incontinent at 40. 3. A lot of you think this is fake, and considering that a majority of shit on Reddit never happened, I don't blame you. I was a professional fiction writer for a while and I try to make what I write at least a little bit interesting to read, so my style may be throwing you off. If I did make this up, I probably would have had at least one coworker in solidarity with me and, I don't know, maybe I did volleyball in high school? I'm a very lame protagonist. So she can handle everyone knowing she's transphobic but can't handle people knowing she sits when she pees? Not the asshole. Why would any woman choose to pee like this when a toilet had just been cleaned and disinfected? Piss and piss water splashing up from the toilet because you are hovering higher than you would sit down. This really doesn't make any sense. Not the asshole. This woman tried to out someone she considered transgender, not fully understanding how dangerous that can be. Right freaking now. Am I the asshole for making my fiance's family uncomfortable and playing dumb about it? I, 25 male, am engaged to my amazing fiancée Jessie, 24 female. We met 6 years ago in college and our relationship started off as friends, turned into more, and we got engaged 3 months ago. I have known her parents and siblings for 4 years and have grown to really like them in that time. Especially in the last year when we got to spend more time together. Some BG on me that they learned over this period of time. My dad died when I was 5 months old after an accident at work. When I was 12 my mom died suddenly and I spent the remainder of my childhood in foster care because my only living family, my dad's parents, both had Alzheimer's and were in a nursing home together. Back to the main topic. Jessie and I got engaged and the first thing her family wanted to do was throw us an engagement party. In the lead up to this I met a few more extended family members who all seemed nice. Then the engagement party happened and things took a major turn. My name became such a big topic of conversation. So I hear them talk about how silly it is for a grown man to be named Bowie, and surely my real name is Bowen and Bowie is just a nickname, and how crazy and cruel were parents to saddle a man with a juvenile name like Bowie. Then one of Jessie's aunts asked me if I would be using a different, more mature and masculine name in our marriage, and I said of course not, because it would not be my name. Then I got a bunch of questions from that aunt as well as Jessie's parents and 2 of her uncles about my thoughts on the name, etc., and whether it was a good idea to use such a name as a married man. Then asking if I didn't feel strange about a name my parents probably picked as a cute name for a baby but not a grown man. That's when I said they'd need to head to the grave and ask my parents, seeing as I could not speak for their thought process and how it might not be easy to get an answer, with them being in the ground for 25 and 12.5 years respectively, but I'm sure my dead parents would love to hear their criticisms of my name. Jessie was at my side the entire time and she was mad at her family, but I told her to be calm and I could handle it. So I had said all this to them and I was cheerful, and then I continued on as if nothing happened, but Jessie's family were very uncomfortable with how I addressed them, but I played dumb and acted like nothing happened. After the party they told Jessie I had been so rude to make them uncomfortable. She told them they had been judgmental assholes. I told her parents that I hoped they would understand why they were inappropriate with their comments and questions and gave them a chance to let it go. They said I was rude and had clearly enjoyed it when I played dumb like I did, and I should apologize for making them uncomfortable. Jessie told them hell would be freezing over before I apologize for it. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Well played, op. You took an extremely upsetting and insensitive situation brought on by your future in-law's family, and served them each a full helping of crow to chow down on. I applaud your efforts. Hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping. Well done indeed. No apology necessary from you. Not the asshole. The audacity to suggest someone should change their first name. Not the asshole. Jessie sounds like a gem and I'm so glad she stood up for you. Her family sucks. Bowie is a dope name and I'm honestly kinda jealous. Not the asshole. My in-laws are like this, they dig and poke and prod and get someone, mostly me, all worked up, then get offended when I get mad and tell them off. Keep setting boundaries, it's the only way to survive the in-laws. Am I the asshole for kicking my 20-year-old daughter, who I financially support, out of my house? I, 45M. I'm a single father to my daughter, 20F. She is an only child and her mother isn't in the picture, Her mother hasn't been in the picture since Isabella was 2. I don't think Isabella even remembers her and we don't talk about her. I haven't dated since me and her mother split up 17 years ago. To still live with me and be financially supported by me at the age of 20, Isabella has to follow a number of rules. I know this sounds harsh, but most kids move out at 18. I know I certainly did, and young adults her age are usually at university by now, but Isabella is very resistant to move out. She has a job, but I've limited her to only working 3 days a week. If she wants to work more hours, she can move out and pay rent in her own place. I don't make her pay rent or pay for groceries, but she must help around TJE house when she's not working. I used to hire a cleaner for when I was at work and Isabella was at school, and the cleaner would come twice a week, but since Isabella left school I require her to replace the tasks of the cleaner instead of just sitting around. She's not allowed to drink under my roof or be in my home drunk or hungover, as her mother had alcohol problems, and she's not allowed boys over. If she disagrees with or disobeys any of these rules, she's very welcome to move out. Despite these rules I have for my daughter, we get on very well. Up until recently. Isabella has been pushing against the rules, not completing chores, and I found some bottles of beer under her bed, which was the final straw. I asked her to please leave and she shouted at me. I thought she might be drunk and, as that is a trigger for me, I left the room. The next day I firmly reminded her again, no alcohol in the house. She told me all her friends drink and that I was babying her, and I said that wasn't the reason and I just didn't want to, and she had to trust me. She told me that me being closed off and secretive about my reasons for things was ruining our relationship, and she never wanted to talk to me again. I told her she couldn't give me the silent treatment in my own house, and I gave her £200 and let her pack her bags and sent her on her way. Not caring where she went because she is 20 and old enough to know better. It's been 5 days since Isabella left and we haven't spoken even once. I miss her, and it is very reminiscent of when Isabella's mother left me, in a drunken rage. And I'm starting to think I may be an asshole for kicking my daughter out like that. On the other hand, she is too old to still be living with me and she knew the rules were firm. We have discussed the consequences many times. You are the asshole. How is she supposed to become financially independent if you won't let her work more than 3 days per week? You could have been supporting her while she worked full-time to save money to move out. You've kept her financially hobbled and treated her like a child. Then you booted her because she didn't like it. You are the asshole. Most kids don't move out at 18, especially in the UK, because there's nowhere to go and people that age can rarely afford housing. This is even more true when you limit her ability to earn money to 3 days a week. The age of drinking is 18 here, so she was doing nothing wrong in having a beer. And this week has been one of the coldest in recent memory in the UK, so you get extra asshole points for kicking her out with almost no money in a snowstorm. You have control issues that border on abusive.